They keep telling me it's just the wind in the pines outside the window. They don't hear it properly. Out there, beyond the parking lot, somebody planted a row of tall firs along the fence. The administrators say it makes the home feel less like a hospital and more like a lodge. At night, when the cars are gone and the hallway lights are low, those trees move. The branches scrape the siding. Needles hiss against glass. Somewhere in that sound, a woman is whispering my name. Hart, soft, old. Teeth clicking slightly on the T. I sit in this vinyl chair with the oxygen tube itching my nose and the TV remote heavy in my hand. I turn the volume up. Baseball, canned laughter, a preacher with too much hair. It doesn't matter. When the wind rises, the voice comes through the walls anyway. Hart, zwolf.com. Wieder. I don't speak German fluently, but I know those words. 12. Come back. I look at the door, at the crack of light under it, at the dark space where the curtain doesn't quite cover the window. The nurse on the night shift, Carla, walks past with her little cart of pills and paper cups. Her shoes squeak. Keys jingle on her belt. She hums something under her breath. Off-key, but human. Warm, present. For a second, the voice in the trees stops. Then the wind shifts, and I hear branches knocking lightly against one another, like bones, and the whisper slides back in, closer. Weist, du noch Hart. The remote slips from my fingers and hits the floor. Plastic cracks. The TV goes black. In the sudden silence, I hear something else. Shoes crunching across frozen ground, canvas rustling, 12 men breathing in a narrow file. I blink, and the room folds into the trees. It is November 1944, and the Hürtgen Forest is in my lungs. I stand on a muddy track that used to be a logging road, my boots sunk ankle-deep in cold brown soup. My fingers are stiff in wool gloves. My helmet strap pinches my jaw. Pine trunks crowd in on both sides, straight and gray-brown, too close together, their tops lost in a low ceiling of mist and branches. It smells like wet earth, cordite, and old sap. Count it again, I say. Corporal Danny Russo taps the side of his helmet with the eraser end of a pencil. He's got the platoon roster folded in half on his knee, propped against a crate of mortar rounds. His cigarette bobs in the corner of his mouth as he mutters. 1, 2, 3. Christ, Sarge. It's still 12. Me, you, O'Keefe, Jarvis, Singer, Bauer, Morales, Dunn, Kyle, Bishop, Larkin, and Doc Price. Plus, the Kraut radio man they saddled us with, if you're counting him as human. He jerks his chin toward the man sitting on the edge of the ditch, hands folded neatly on his knees. Ernst Bauer wears the same filthy M1943 field jacket as the rest of us, but it hangs on him like it belonged to somebody bigger. His collar is turned up, his helmet strap unbuckled, round glasses, metal frames, too thin for this place, slide down his nose as he looks up. I was born in Cleveland, he says in perfect English. You can call me whatever you like, Corporal, but my draft card looks the same as yours. The guys around him snicker softly. Jarvis spits into the mud. Kyle shrugs his shoulders to settle his pack better. Larkin, our barman, pats the top of the gun like it's a dog. You hear that, Russo? Morales says. You're bullying an American citizen. We're gonna have Congress on your ass after the war. After the war, Don echoes. He says it without conviction, like the phrase itself has been worn thin. A gust of wind comes down the track. Needles sift from the branches and fall around us in a slow drift, dusting helmets and shoulders, sticking to wet cloth. Somewhere deep in the trees, artillery thumps. You feel it in your teeth more than you hear it. Our Lieutenant Kelleher stands a few yards away with a map pinned under a gloved hand on the hood of a jeep. He is talking to Captain Mills from HQ, both of them bent over the paper like men reading a will. Their breath smokes. Their words don't carry. Behind them, at the edge of the trees, a civilian woman waits. She's small and stooped, wrapped in a dark shawl that might once have been black. Her hair is white and pinned tight against her skull. Her face is all planes and angles, puckered by weather. She clutches a string of something in her hands. Not rosary beads. Little carved wooden discs on a cord. Her eyes never leave us. Why is the old lady still here? Bishop murmurs. He is bareheaded, helmet hanging from his hand by the strap, red hair plastered to his skull with sweat, despite the cold. There's a Catholic medal on a chain around his neck, dull under the grime. He fingers it when he thinks no one can see. Refugee maybe, Doc Price says. He kneels in the muck, repacking his aid bag. He talks without looking up. Won't go far. Says this is her home. Krauts shell her home. She'll go, Jarvis says. She was here yesterday, Morales says quietly. By the track, by the field kitchen. Today, she's here. Tomorrow she'll be standing on my chest when the trees fall on us. I don't like it, Sarge. Eat your breakfast, I tell him. He holds up his mess tin. The oatmeal inside is the color of concrete. I did. The woman shifts her weight. One of the wooden discs twists in her fingers and catches a sliver of light. I see a shape carved into it. A crooked tree, branches like reaching hands. Kelleher folds the map. Mills claps him on the shoulder, a quick sharp gesture, and walks away, toward his jeep. Our lieutenant tucks the map into his oilskin case and strides toward us, boots sucking at the mud. Listen up, he says. We're going in. Nobody laughs. Nobody groans. We all knew that already. The Hürtgen has been in front of us for days. A wall of trunks and fog and wire. We're pushing along this logging road to check on an outpost that went quiet yesterday afternoon, Kelleher says. Supposed to be a platoon from 209. They were watching a draw that leads toward the village of Rafflesbrand. We don't know if their line got cut or if they bugged out. Either way, battalion wants eyes on it and a radio check. That's us. He looks at Bauer. You stick to me like glue, private. Division net only, unless I tell you otherwise. Understood? Yes, sir. Everyone else, keep your intervals. No heroics. He pauses for a second, looks down the track, into the trees. Locals say this part of the forest is called Hexenwald. He adds, Witch's Wood. So don't go wandering off the path. I don't have the paperwork to deal with whatever lives in there. It's a bad joke, and he smiles as he says it. But the word hangs there. Hexenwald. Witch's Wood. Rousseau snorts. I dated a girl from Queens, Lieutenant, he says. Nothing in Germany scares me. The woman at the edge of the trees shuffles closer. Her boots are caked in dirt. She raises one hand, slowly, like the air is heavy. Herr Leutnant, she says. Her German is harsh and quick. Then she softens, searching for English. You, go in there now. Kelleher turns toward her. He looks tired. We all do. That's the plan, ma'am. She glances at us, counts with her eyes. Her lips move. 12. She takes a step closer and holds out the cord of wooden discs. You must not go in. 12, she says. 12 munner. 9, you make. 11, or 13. 12 is for the Jad. The what? I ask. She turns her face to me. Her eyes are a faded gray, but the pupils are sharp. Jagdsug, she says, then corrects herself. The hunt. Old women and dogs and dead men. In this forest, the hunt takes 12 at a time, only for walk back. This is the rule. She presses the cord toward me. You break it, she says. Take one. Close up, I see that each disc has a different crooked tree carved into it. Some with birds perched in the branches. Some with shapes hanging from them. The wood is dark and smooth, from years of fingers. Kelleher exhales hard through his nose. We don't have time for stories, he says. Thank you, ma'am. Go back to the village. It's safer there. She doesn't move. You have 12, she says to me again. Take one, make 11, or bring another. Make 13. 12 goes in. 12 is counted. 4 hearts beat out again. This is how it has always been. Rousseau shifts his weight. Super, he mutters. Forest comes with its own math teacher. I should have stepped back. I should have called the men to fall in and marched into those trees without touching anything. Instead, I reach out. The wooden discs are colder than the air. They click softly as they slide along the cord. My fingers close on one and pull. The cord doesn't part. Stronger, the old woman says. I jerk. The cord snaps. The disc in my hand falls into my glove, light as a coin. It shows a tree with 12 branches, each ending in a small hooked shape like a hand. Keep, she whispers, so you do not forget. I shove it into my breast pocket. All right, that's enough, Kelleher says. He raises his voice. Squad, on me. Interval 5 yards. Eyes up. Let's move. We form a file without speaking. Helmets settle. Rifle slings creak. Packs hitch higher on shoulders. You can feel the forest looking back at you. I take my place behind Kelleher, Rousseau behind me, then Jarvis, Singer, Bishop, Morales, Dunn, Kyle, Larkin with the bar, Doc Price, Bauer, and O'Keefe dragging the -300 Seychelles rupees radio like a cursed child on his back. 12 shapes sliding into the trees of the Hexenwald. The old woman calls after us in German, the words too fast now for my ears, but one number hits like a stone. Vayer, she says. 4. The track narrows as we go. Trees lean in. The light turns green, and then gray. After 20 yards you can't see the clearing behind us anymore. Only trunks. Only fog. Snow that never quite becomes snow hangs in the air. Tiny pellets of ice that cling to eyelashes and rifles and eyebrows. Needles carpet the ground in a thick slick layer that hides roots and wire in old craters. Kelleher raises his fist. We stop. The forest presses in. Quiet, he mouths. Distant, to our left, a machine gun chatters. German, short, controlled bursts. Then silence. The sound doesn't echo. It just dies in the trees. We start again. My breath fogs the air in front of my face. I count the men in my head with every 10 paces. 12. The forest has a sound even in its silence. Branches creak. Something small scuttles over bark. Somewhere water drips in a hollow trunk. Wind moves high above, and you hear it as a low, continuous hiss. Like someone drawing in air to speak and never quite exhaling. I slide my hand into my pocket and touch the wooden disc. It is warm now. After half an hour, the track bends. On the inside of the curve, someone has nailed something to a tree. It is a board, weathered gray, with faded black letters and Gothic script. The paint has run in the damp. Bauer steps closer and squints. Westetta, Rousseau whispers. It says. Bauer answers. J. Jerpis Hunter's Way. And then, a warning, I think. Something about returning in the same number as you entered, or not at all. Morales blows out a breath. That's comforting, he mutters. Eyes front, I say. We stick to the map. We stick to the track. Nobody wanders off to count trees. We move on. The first body appears 10 minutes later. It is lying half off the track, feet in the path, shoulders dug into the needles. American boots, American leggings. The jacket is torn and black with dried blood, stiff as cardboard. The helmet is gone. The head is tilted back, mouth open. There is no face. Something has taken it apart in a very particular way. The skin is peeled back over the skull like someone pulled off a mask and left it on the forehead. The eyes are empty sockets. Pine needles clung to ropey muscle. Doc Price crouches beside him. Jesus, he whispers. He touches the man's dog tags with the back of his hand, the way you touch a kettle to test if it's hot. Cold, he says. Kelleher looks around quickly, scanning the trees, the ground, the air. No shell crater, he says. No shrapnel marks. No blast. They said this platoon went quiet yesterday, Bauer says. His voice is thin. One day, maybe 2. Rousseau swallows. Animals, he says. Yeah, Jarvis says. Real tidy animals, he points. The man's chest is untouched. His arms are folded neatly across his ribs, hands tucked under his elbows like someone put him to bed. We don't stay long. We can't. Kelleher notes the dog tags. We tug the body fully off the track and move on. We find the second one 20 yards further. This one is seated upright against a tree as if resting. Helmet on, hands in his lap. frozen mud on his boots. His eyes are open. His mouth is full of pine needles, packed in tight. Somebody did this, Bishop says. His voice cracks. Krauts did this. They're screwing with us. Then they're close. I say keep moving. Keep your weapons ready. Doc Price straightens slowly. His hands, he says. The dead man's palms are streaked with sap and splinters, fingers torn. He clawed at the ground, at the tree, at his own face maybe. We don't look closer. The radio hisses on O'Keefe's back, a faint whisper of static that sounds like someone breathing into his neck. He jumps. Cut that thing, Russo says. We need it, Kelleher says. Battalion needs to know what we're walking into. O'Keefe shrugs his pack higher, and we go deeper. The forest thickens. The light fades though it is still mid-morning. Mist wriggles between trunks at knee height, too local, too deliberate, like it has edges. I lose track of time. One step, then another. Watch your intervals, watch your feet. Every stump could be a mine. Every mound could hide wire. Every branch might have a grenade tied to it. Somewhere ahead, something moves. I freeze. The line behind me bumps lightly, then steadies. We go to one knee, instinctively. Up ahead, through the trunks, I see something white flicker between trees. Did you see that? Bishop whispers. See what? Jarvis asks. Dress, Bishop says. Like a dress, like a woman, moving through the trees. He licks his lips. His hand is on his medal. Morales shakes his head. There's no women here, man, he says. Only trees and idiots. The white appears again. Closer. It is not a dress. It is a scrap of canvas, torn from a shelter half, caught on a broken branch, flapping in the breathless air. Everyone exhales at once. Relax, Russo says. You first, Dunn answers. We stand. We move. We reach the outpost in the early afternoon. It is a shallow trench dug across the track, reinforced with logs and earth. There are empty ammo boxes piled nearby, some burned, some intact. A field phone lies in the mud, the line severed where it used to run back toward our lines. There are 6 bodies in the trench. Most of them died the way men die under artillery, limbs at wrong angles, helmets dented, faces turned away or buried. One lies flat on his back with his hands folded over his stomach, eyes closed. Someone has placed a sprig of fir between his fingers, above the trench, nailed to a tree. Someone has hung another board. No words on this one, only a symbol burned deep into the wood, a crooked tree with 12 branches. Tiny marks hang from each one, the same as on the disc in my pocket. Kelleher swears under his breath. Bauer, he says, any civilians anywhere near here? Bauer scans the trees, his breath plumes in front of his face. Not lately, he says. Not with this much shelling. Villages are back that way. Then who the hell put that thing up? As if in answer, the forest changes. It is subtle at first. The wind dies. The hiss in the branches stops. For a moment, everything is absolutely still. No creak of trunks. No drip of water. No distant gunfire. Then, very faint, from somewhere deeper in the trees, comes a sound. Women's voices. Not singing, not laughing, chanting. The words are too blurred by distance to pick out. But the rhythm is clear. A low, rising murmur. Then a sharp drop. Like someone counting, and then cutting off at a certain number. My skin crawls under my wool shirt. Do you hear that? Morales whispers. Yeah, I say. Could be German nurses, Dunn says. Could be a field hospital. In this, Doc Price says. He gestures at the trench, the bombed-out trees, the tangle of wire. No one sets up a hospital here. The chant rises slightly. It is closer now. The syllables slap against the trunks and come back bent. Zwilf, I hear. Clear as a bell. 12. Kelleher looks at me. He has freckles across his nose under the grime. He looks about 25. We can't stay here, he says. We mark the position. We report back, and we get the hell out. This platoon's done. Our job is done. He nods at O'Keefe. Get me battalion. O'Keefe kneels, sets the radio down, pulls off his glove with his teeth, and fiddles with the dials. Static whispers in his ears. He presses the handset close. King Able to King Actual. He says, come in. Over nothing. He tries again. Static, low and breathy, like someone mumbling in another room. Then, softly, through the headphones, a woman's voice speaks in German. O'Keefe goes rigid. What is it? I ask. He doesn't answer. His eyes glass over. I grab the handset from his hand and press it to my ear. I hear branches creaking. I hear needles hissing, and underneath, a voice. Heart, it says. My name, in that dry old tongue. Zwölf, Viora. I rip the handset away and throw it in the mud. Radio's fried, I say. My heart thuds against my ribs, hot and stupid. We're heading back. Same way we came. Now Kelleher nods quickly. Pack it up, he says. On your feet. Move. As we turn to leave, a shell falls somewhere far off. The sound rolls through the forest like a slow wave. Snow pellets shiver off branches. The chant in the trees grows louder. We follow our own tracks back along the logging road. Or we try to. The forest is not the same. This time the trunks are closer together. The track feels narrower. The ground underfoot is softer, spongy, like walking on old meat. After 20 minutes, we reach a bend in the road. There is a board nailed to a tree on the inside of the curve. The paint is smeared by weather. The letters are in Gothic script. J. Jerpis Bauer reads, Hunter's Way. Dunn stops walking. Didn't we pass this already? He asks. Yeah, Russo says. We did once. Kyle frowns. Maybe there are two, he says. German logging roads. They probably reuse names. He doesn't sound convinced. Stay on the track, I say. We follow it until we see daylight. That's all. Don't look left. Don't look right. Just keep your interval. We move on. The air grows colder. My breath fogs thicker. The mist at our knees clots and drags. At some point I realize I can't hear the distant artillery anymore. What time is it? Singer asks. Shut up and walk, Jarvis says. We march for what feels like an hour. The track bends again. On the inside of the curve, a board hangs on a tree. J. Jerpis. Bauer whispers. His voice is faint. Returning in the same number as you entered, or not at all. The chant is closer now. I can pick out words, fragments, like bones poking through leaf litter. Zwölf rain, they say 12, in Viora Hynos, 4 out. I stop walking. The guys bunch up behind me, boots squelching, rifles clinking lightly. What's the hold-up, Sarge? Russo asks. His tone is forced light. Thinking about buying a cabin out here, I turn slowly. Count faces. Kelleher, Russo, Jarvis, Singer, Bishop, Morales, Dunn, Kyle, Larkin, Doc Price, Bauer, O'Keefe, 12. I don't like this, I say. Me neither, Bishop says. But the only other option is building a new road, and I didn't bring a bulldozer. The chant threads through the trunks like smoke. Zwölf, it says. My fingers find the disc in my pocket. The carved tree under my thumb has 12 branches. For a second, my heart seems to skip. 12 beats. A pause. 4. Listen, Morales says. His voice is thin. What if the old woman was right? About what? Russo says. He barks the question like a challenge. About fairies in the trees. Ghost hunts. Come on. About 12, Morales says. He swallows. I hear it. About numbers. About not going in as 12. Maybe we need 2. I don't know. Go in different. Break the count. Silence drapes over us, heavy and stupid. What do you suggest? Kelleher asks. We leave somebody here as a sacrifice. He's joking. Half joking. His eyes aren't. Nobody laughs. Snow pellets hiss in the needles overhead. Doc Price clears his throat. We could send for a head, he says slowly. For stay here. For go back. We change the number that way. It's dumb, but nothing about this feels normal. You're talking about splitting the squad in this, Jarvis says. In the middle of Jerry country, with mines and MGs, and God knows what. Kyle chews the inside of his cheek. What if we're already split? He asks. Speak English, Russo says. Kyle points at the trees. What if we walked in as 12, he says, and the forest already picked its 4, the 4 that are going to walk out. No matter what we do. The chant rises, just enough to underline his words. I don't let the thought land. I can't. Enough, I say. We keep moving. We are not sitting here arguing over fairy tales while Krauts line up their mortar. I step forward. Something crunches under my boot. I look down. Pine needles. Twigs. Nothing special. But they are arranged in a pattern. 12 thin sticks laid side by side, with 2 more crossing them at one end to make a crooked tree shape. My stomach turns. Don't look at the ground, I say. Eyes up. Let's go. We move. The forest closes in. It starts small. A branch brushes the side of my helmet, but there's no tree that close. The strap tugs against my chin, as if hooked by a hand. I swat at the air. My glove hits nothing. Behind me, someone stumbles. A rifle clatters. Larkin curses under his breath. Root, he says. I tripped. There is no root where he fell, only needles. Dark and darker. The chant swells. Voices layer over one another, old and cracked and thin. There is a laugh in there somewhere, high and sharp, like a knife on glass. Heart, they say. Heart, Zeewolf. I tell myself it is the wind. My ears know it is not. We hit the board for the 3rd time. J. Jerpis. Bauer mutters. His glasses are fogged. We are in a loop. How? O'Keefe asks. His radio antenna quivers slightly, like a feeler. We're walking straight. No such thing in this place, Doc Price says. Kelleher presses his hand against the tree. His glove leaves a damp mark on the bark. We pick a direction, and we cut straight, he says. Off the road, through the trees. South and west. We know our own lines are that way. We walk until we hit them, or a German bullet hits us first. Either way, we're not hamsters on this track anymore. It is madness. It is also the only thing that sounds like a decision. We go off the road. We hit mines, Jarvis says. We stay on. We hit something else, Morales says quietly. I look at the men, at their shoulders bowed under packs, at their faces gray with cold and fear under the grime, at Bishop's trembling fingers on his metal, at Russo's jaw clenched so hard there's a twitch at the corner, at Doc Price's hand resting on his aid bag like a man holding a child. 12. I could call for volunteers. I could make a plan. I could divide us. Instead, I nod. Off the track, I say. Intervals. Watch your feet. Slow and steady. We step into the trees. The ground changes under my boot like crossing a line. Needles give way to something softer, like moss, like damp fabric. My foot sinks an inch deeper than I expect. For a second it feels like something unseen presses against my boot from below, as if a hand is pushing back. I pull free and keep moving. Branches rake our sleeves. Twigs snag on web gear. The air grows thick. There is a smell now, climbing slowly through the rot and sap. Something sour, old sweat, breath that has sat in a closed room too long. We spread out as much as the trunks allow. 10, 15 feet between men. Lines of sight short, sound muffled. Step where I step, I say over my shoulder, one at a time. Check your footing before you put weight down. Hey Sarge, Russo says. What? You hear that? I stop. The chant is gone. In its place, deeper in the trees, a new sound rises. Boots. Many boots, marching. The rhythm of a company moving in column on a hard surface. Only there is no road here. No stone. Only needles and rot. Still, the boots hit something solid. Step, step, step. Perfect cadence. It is not coming from any one direction. It comes from all around, as if the trees themselves are moving. Contact, Jarvis whispers. His hands go white on his rifle. Hold, I say. The marching grows louder, then stops all at once. Something exhales above us. Needles rain down. So many the air turns green-brown. They patter on helmets, and shoulders, and rifle stocks. Some of them stick to our faces, warm as fingers. I reach up to wipe my cheek. My glove comes away streaked with something dark. At first I think it's sap. It smells like iron. Blood, Singer says hoarsely. Tiny drops, thin as tears, falling from somewhere high in the canopy. They speckle my jacket, my rifle, my hands. The forest lights flicker. For a heartbeat, the world goes dark. Not night, deep dark, like being underwater. Shapes shift between trunks. Tall, cloaked, stooped. I see the curve of a hunched back, the edge of a jaw without teeth, a line of hair pulled into a bun. Old women, dozens of them, walking between the trees, parallel to us, heads nodding, mouths moving. The dark blinks off. The trees are bare. No one there. Move, I say. My voice cracks. Now, we crash through the undergrowth with more noise than I like, but stealth feels useless here. The disc in my pocket digs into my ribs. Behind me, someone begins to hum. A low, tuneless sound. Who's doing that? Russo hisses. Doing what? Dunn says. The goddamn humming, Russo says. Bishop clears his throat. It's my teeth, he says. They're chattering. Clamp them, then. Jarvis snaps. Bishop laughs once, a short, panicked bark. Then he stops. He stops walking too. I feel the gap before I hear the shout. Oh God, Morales says. Bishop's gone. I whip around. His place in the staggered line is empty. Bishop, I shout. Sound off. Nothing. We fan out, as much as the trees allow, and try to keep each other in sight. Snow pellets tap on helmets. The smell of iron hangs in the mist. Bishop, I yell again. My voice bounces off bark and comes back thin. You fall. You hit a root. Doc Price moves to my left, scanning the ground. Watch your step, he murmurs. Watch for his boot slides. He drops out of sight with a grunt, like someone pulled him down by the ankles. Doc. Russo lunges toward the sound. Stay put. I bark. Everyone freeze. I lower myself to one knee and feel ahead with my rifle barrel. The ground slants away sharply in front of us, a narrow cut in the earth hidden by needles and mist. Not a shell crater. Too straight, too clean. A trench. Not ours, not theirs. Something older. The walls are lined with roots that twist like fingers. The bottom is full of water, the color of tea, and slick logs that might once have been boards. Doc Price lies on his side, half in the water, one leg twisted, his helmet knocked off. He is breathing fast, eyes wide. I'm okay, he gasps. I think I twisted my ankle. Don't jump in. The sides are slick. On the far side of the trench, Bishop stands with his back to us. Bishop, I say, you all right? He doesn't move. Hey, Russo says. Redhead, you deaf. Bishop raises his hand slowly. His fingers tremble. His metal glints against his throat. His shoulders hunch. Without turning, he steps forward. The trunks close around him like a curtain. Hey, Russo roars. He swings his bar toward where Bishop vanished. Don't fire, Kelleher snaps. You don't know what's beyond him. You could hit one of ours. One of ours is walking off into nowhere, Russo says. His voice shakes. Bishop, come back, you stupid Mick. I look down at Doc Price. Can you climb out? I ask. He presses his hands against the wall. Roots wriggle under his palms. I can try, he says, as he pushes one of the roots loops around his wrist. Just a little, like a bracelet. His eyes flick up to mine. Did you see that? He whispers. I swallow. Yeah, I say ignore it. Kick with your good leg. Use your elbows. We haul him out with rifle slings and belts. When he stands, his left boot can't take weight. We can splint it, he says. I can hobble. The chant returns, distant, but insistent. Viara, it says. Viara Hynos, 4 out. We have lost one. 11. I look at the men. I see it in their faces. They are doing the same math. Bishop knows the way back, Kyle says. He'll meet us at the track. No one contradicts him out loud. We move on. The forest tilts slightly under our feet, like the whole world is leaning toward some unseen center. The trees grow thicker. The air smells of wet stone and something else. A faint scent, almost familiar. Sulfur. Do you smell that? Jarvis says. Like a match that won't go out. Could be a dud shell, Dunn says. Could be hell, Morales mutters. He tries to make it sound like a joke. His voice won't cooperate. We break into a small clearing. At least, that is what it looks like at first. Then my eyes adjust. It is not a clearing. It is a pit. The trees stand back in a rough circle, their roots knotted and exposed, clinging to the lip of a depression about 20 yards across. The bottom is littered with bones, not neat, not stacked, strewn, as if dropped from a height. Deer, maybe cows. The skulls are long, antlers twist, but between them lie shapes I recognize too well. Boots, torn field jackets, a helmet with a hole clean through the front, a rusted Mauser, an American M1 with the stock split, and there, half buried in needles and old ash, 12 more discs of dark wood, scattered like coins. One of them rocks slightly in a wind I cannot feel. Art, Collier says softly. He points. At the far side of the pit, on the slope between bones, stand for crooked trees. Their trunks lean in over the hole. Their branches twist together, forming a rough arch. Something hangs from them, swaying gently. Dog tags, dozens, maybe hundreds. American, German, British. Metal glints dull in the gray light. They clink softly, like distant cutlery in a dining hall. The chant is just outside the circle now, all around us. Old women's voices, counting. Ein, zwei, drei. Back out, Dunn whispers. We back out. We don't turn our backs. We walk out the way we came in. My boot shifts in loose bone. Something rolls. I look down. It is a human jaw, teeth intact. A disc of wood rests inside the curve of it, balanced like a coin in a grin. The carved tree on this one has 4 branches. Don't pick it up, Morales says sharply. I wasn't going to. Good. The dog tags clink again. Doc Price winces. I recognize that sound, he says. We hang tags like that at aid stations. For the ones we can't help. The chant reaches 12. Everything stops. No wind. No sound. No breath. Then something laughs in the trees. High and cold and pleased. A shell comes in blind. No whine. No warning. Just a sudden roar and a white flash to our right. The ground lifts and punches us. I go down with my arms wrapped around my helmet by reflex. Dirt slams into my back. Something hits my leg. A body rolls over mine, ears ringing. Mouth full of mud. I push myself up. Kyle, I shout. Larkin, sound off. Smoke curls between the trunks. The taste of cordite bites the back of my throat. Kyle's gone. Dunn coughs. He wipes at his face. His hand comes away streaked with red and soil. There's a hole where he was. He's gone. Larkin lies on his side, the bar on top of him. The gun is bent. His helmet has slid back, exposing his forehead. His eyes are open. His lips move. Hot, he whispers. It's hot. I touch his chest. No blood. No visible wound. But his skin burns under my glove. His pulse flutters and fades. Doc Price crawls to him, dragging his bad leg. He opens the aid bag and reaches in. His hand closes on empty air. The bag is full of needles, not syringes. Pine needles, packed in tight. He yanks his hand back, shaking them off. Larkin's hands find the stock of the bar. His fingers curl. The gun smokes, faintly, from every seam. The heat builds. The metal warps. The wooden stock splits with a crack. Larkin's back arches. His mouth opens. Needles pour out. A slow, steady stream of green, coated in a thin sheen of blood. By the time it stops, His eyes are glass. Doc Price kneels back on his heels, panting. That's two, Morales says hoarsely. We all hear him. We all count. Bishop, Kyle, Larkin. 3. 9 left. The forest exhales slowly, like someone satisfied. We pull back from the pit, step by cautious step, not turning our backs until trunks hide it from view. Direction, Kelleher asks. His face is pale under the mud. Westbauer says. His compass spins lazily in his hand. The needle jerks, as if something invisible flicks it. Pick something and walk, Russo says. If this place wants 4 out, we just have to make sure we're those 4. No one asks who the other 8 will be. We march. The light fades. Afternoon slides into something like evening, though my watch says it is not that late. The sky above the trees is a strip of dull lead. Snow begins to fall for real. Fat flakes that vanish before hitting the ground. We come upon a wire. It gleams dull and black, strung between stakes at knee height, as mine, tripwire. Simple, deadly, careful, I say. Minefield. Whose? Jarvis asks. Ours. Theirs. The stakes have no markings, no flags. Someone has tied little bits of cloth to them. 12 pieces, all the same size. We go around, I say. We pick our way along the edge. The wire snakes into the trees, disappears, reappears. Always there. Always at knee height. At some point, without noticing exactly when, we find ourselves stepping over it instead of skirting it. The wire lies on the ground now, partly buried in needles. The stakes stand like little grave markers. Watch your feet, Doc Price murmurs. Watch your feet. Jarvis steps where I step. Singer steps where Jarvis steps. Dunn doesn't. There is a hollow clink, a click, a sound too tiny to matter in most places. Here, it is the loudest thing in the world. Don't move, I say. My throat is dry. Dunn's eyes roll toward me. Tell me you're kidding, Sarge, he says. His boot is on something round and metal, half buried. The wire loops around it. Is mine. I know how these work. You disturb the wire. The mine pops up to waist height. Then it explodes in all directions. Okay, I say okay. Listen. Take your weight slowly off that foot. Slow as you can. Don't lift. Just roll. If it's already armed, maybe we can. The chant swells. 12, it says. Viora Dunn's lips peel back from his teeth. I don't want to die in the trees, he says. He moves too fast. The mine pops. It jumps out of the needles like a startled rabbit and hangs in the air for a fraction of a second. Right at the height of Dunn's belt. Time folds. Then the world turns white and screaming. Shrapnel tears the air. Needles become knives. Something hot slams into my shoulder, spins me sideways. I hit the ground behind a stump, ears ringing, vision tunneling. I taste blood. When the sound fades, there is a quieter noise underneath. Tiny impacts. Metal tapping wood. It goes on longer than it should. I lift my head. Dunn is gone. Pieces of him paint the trunks in a wide circle. His helmet hangs on a branch, slowly turning. His rifle lies on the ground, stock splintered. Between the bits of flesh and bark, little shards of shrapnel are embedded in the trees. Some of them are not metal. They gleam pale. Bone. Jesus, Russo says. His face looks wrong. There is a line of blood across his cheek like a finger. Jesus! 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 Count Bauer whispers. We don't want to. We do. Bishop, Kyle, Larkin. Dunn. 4-8 left. The chant drops to a low murmur. Satisfied. We bandage what we can. Doc Price wraps my shoulder. The wound is shallow. A graze. Forrest is paying attention to your math, he says through his teeth as he ties the bandage. His ankle is swelling. He leans on Morales. The radio on O'Keefe's back hisses and crackles. He reaches up to smack it. Don't, I say. It's loud, he says. It's driving me nuts. He slaps the casing with the heel of his hand. The static clears. For a second, impossibly, I hear music, a tune I half recognize. A German lullaby my grandmother used to hum when she thought no one was listening. Then a voice cuts in, old, thin, right next to my ear. Heart, it says. Bior. The radio speaker squeals and pops. Smoke trickles from the seams. The smell of bakelite and burnt insulation mingles with pine. The set dies. O'Keefe stares at it. I didn't do that, he says. I know, I answer. We trudge on. Night comes, if you can call it that. The forest doesn't get darker so much as flatter, as if all the shadows merge into one. Our breath hangs in front of our faces like ghosts that can't decide which way to go. We stumble into something that might be a trench line, but it's too straight, too shallow. A track of sorts. We follow it. Bits of wire hang from branches. Some of them have things knotted in them. Bits of cloth, buttons, teeth. They click softly as we pass. We're in hell, Jarvis says. It's still Belgium, Bauer mutters. Or Germany. Or both. Hell is somewhere else. He doesn't sound sure. Doc Price falters. His bad leg finally gives. He goes down on one knee, then two. Leave me a rifle, he says. I'll watch the rear. No, I say. Somebody always watches the rear, he says. That's the rule. Last man keeps eyes back. You know that, Hart. I grip the sling of his aid bag. We're not leaving you, I say. He looks up at me. In the dim, his face looks older. You remember that board? He asks J.J. Erpus. Return in the same number as you entered, or not at all. Yeah, we're not returning in the same number, he says. We can feel that. Maybe. Maybe the rule applies in reverse too. Maybe somebody has to choose to stay. To break the count. The chant rises. Hungry. No, Rousseau snaps. We're not playing games with fairy math. Morales shifts his weight. If we drag him, we slow down, he says. We get stuck here longer. We give the witches more time to pick. Witches? Jarvis scoffs. It's just a forest. It's just our brains. There's no witches. A hand touches the back of his neck. He jerks forward with a strangled yell and spins, rifle up. No one there. But on the collar of his jacket, 12 pine needles are arranged in a neat circle, tips pointing inward. No one remembers putting them there. Jarvis rips the jacket off and flings it into the trees. He stands in his wool shirt, chest heaving. Okay, he says. Okay, maybe there are witches. Doc Price laughs once, rough. I've been patching you idiots up for months, he says. Let me do one more favor. Leave me. Give me Singer's extra bandolier. Give me a grenade. If anything comes up the track behind you that isn't friendly, it'll meet me first. His hands shake as he reaches for his bag. Kelleher, I say. The lieutenant looks at me. His eyes are hollow. His jaw works. What's your call, Sarge? He asks. His voice is flat. You know these men better than I do. It is cowardly, pushing it back on me. It is also honest. I look at Doc Price, at his swollen ankle, at the way he is sitting already, as if his body knows where it wants to end. I'm sorry, I say. I don't say for what. We give him Singer's extra ammo. We give him a grenade. We leave him sitting in a shallow dip beside the track, leaning against a root. His rifle rests across his knees. His helmet is tipped low over his eyes. He looks like a man waiting for a train. As we walk away, the chants swell behind us, then cut off abruptly. There is a single rifle shot. No second, no third. Doc Price has done his job. I'll come back for him, I say. My throat burns. When this is over, I'll bring a proper detail. We'll bring him in. The forest hears me. I know it does. The air warms slightly. The smell of sulfur fades. Bishop, Kyle, Larkin, Dunn, Price. 5 gone, 7 left. The math keeps shifting. 12, 4 out. The forest has its rule. We walk, hours blur. At some point, Jarvis stops talking. The constant stream of muttering complaints that has been filling the air since Normandy dries up. I don't notice at first. Then I realize the space where his voice should be is empty. Jarvis, I call. No answer. We double back 10 paces. 20. The line is unbroken. No footprints veer off. No sign of a scuffle. It's as if the forest simply edited him out. Rousseau grips his helmet with both hands. This isn't fair, he says. You don't just erase people. The forest creaks. We move faster. Singer starts to hum. Too loud, too frantic. A marching cadence from training. He keeps losing the rhythm. His voice cracks. Stop, Morales says. You're freaking me out. If I stop, they'll talk louder, Singer says. Who? He doesn't answer. Hours later, or minutes, we break out onto the logging road again. The relief is immediate and ugly. It feels like getting a straw in a room with no air. The track runs left and right between the trunks. One direction slopes uphill, the other curves down. On the inside of the curve, nailed to a tree, hangs a board. J. Jerpis Bauer says dully, Hunter's Way. The warning below is a smear of paint. The chant begins again, distant but gaining. Swilf rain, it says. Bayer Hynos. We stand in the middle of the road. 7 dirty shapes under heavy packs. And we understand, finally, that the forest will not let us walk out in the order we choose. It has its own list. Okay, Kelleher says. His voice has an edge now, a raw wire sound. Enough. We're done letting trees and old women and dead Germans decide this. We pick a direction. We run. We don't stop. We don't listen. 4 of us are going to make it out. I intend to be one of them. You want in, you keep up. He starts downhill. I don't move. Heart, Rousseau says. In a second, I say. I pull the disc from my pocket. The carved tree on it has 12 branches. In the gray light, 4 of them look darker than the others, as if something has soaked into them. I close my fist around it. You wanted 11, I say under my breath, to no one visible. You told me to break the 12. I didn't. That's on me. But we're done playing neat. You're going to get your 4. That's your rule. I'm making one too. I shove the disc into the mud and grind it under my heel until it splinters. The chant falters. Just a hitch, like someone tripping on a stair. Rousseau grabs my sleeve. Let's go, he says. We run. Branches whip our faces. The track tilts and dips. The air burns our lungs. Packs hammer our shoulders with every stride. Behind us, the forest screams. Not voices, not words. A sound like roots tearing out of earth. Like bones grinding. Like a wind forced through a throat that has never breathed. Singer stumbles. He goes down hard on both knees. His rifle skids. Morales and I turn back simultaneously. I've got him, Morales says. He hauls Singer up by the webbing. Singer's eyes are too wide. Whites all around. I can't. Singer gasps. My legs you can. Morales snaps. Move. They stagger forward. The scream behind us swells. Something hits me between the shoulders. Not physically. A pressure. A demand. Stop. Count. Choose. I don't. I keep my feet moving. The trees thin. Light changes. Suddenly we are at the edge. The forest ends like a wall. One more stride and my boots hit open ground. Mud, shell holes, ugly stumps. The sky is low and heavy, but it is SKY, not a narrow strip between branches. Ahead, 50 yards away, American engineers in dirty overcoats work on a blown bridge. Trucks wait. A jeep idles. A chaplain in a helmet with a cross painted on it stands near a stack of crates, talking to a major. The noise of engines, shouted orders, the clank of tools, human sounds. I stop dead. I am breathing like I've swallowed glass. My legs tremble. Engineers look up. Hands freeze. Somebody whistles low. Well, I'll be damned, the major says. His voice sounds like it's coming from the far end of a long tunnel. Rousseau stumbles out of the trees beside me. Morales and Singer shoulder through next. Bauer, O'Keefe, Kelleher. We stand there in a crooked line, 7 of us, blinking at the light. Then the forest takes its payment. There is no warning. One second Singer is hunched over, hands on his knees, sobbing air. The next, he stiffens. His head jerks toward the trees behind us. His pupils dilate. "Sarge?" he whispers. "They're calling roll." He takes one step backward. Morales grabs his arm. "Don't," he says. "Don't you dare." Singer's heel hits the line where mud meets needles. His boots sink a fraction. Something hooks him. He flies backward into the trees, as if yanked by a cable. His hand slips out of Morales's grip, skin leaving a streak of red on Morales's fingers. Singer doesn't make a sound. He is just there 1 second and gone the next, swallowed by dark trunks. Morales lunges after him. I catch him around the chest. "No," I say. He strains in my arms like a dog on a leash. "Let me go," he snarls. "Let me go." No, he fights hard. Hard enough that I taste blood in my mouth from the effort. Then his shoulders sag, his legs fold. He sobs once, loud and ugly. At the edge of the trees, just inside the shadow, 12 old women stand in a ragged line. They are wrapped in shawls and rags. Their faces are creased like dried apples. Their eyes are small and bright. Their mouths move. They count. Not in German, not in English. In some narrower language made of teeth and numbers. Their fingers move too long and knotted. They tick off names we cannot hear. One by one, they turn away from us and step back into the dark. By the time the engineers reach us, the women are gone. Hürtgen spat a few back. One of the engineers says, his voice is hushed. "Didn't think anyone from King Company was still moving." 7, the major says, counting. "We sent 12 into that sector this morning. Maybe the others are behind," the chaplain says. He sounds like he doesn't believe it. I open my mouth. I want to say Bishop's name. Kyle's, Larkin's, Dunn's, Jarvis's dock prices, Singer's. I want to say we left one by a trench. I want to tell someone to send a detail, to bring them in, to prove the forest wrong. Instead, I cough. Mud and pine needles stick to my tongue. 4, I rasp. The major frowns. "What? 4 of us?" I say. "Me, Russo, Morales, Bauer," I gesture weakly. "O'Keefe's radio is shot. Kelleher can't hear. They're no good to you. They're shadows. Forest's not done with them. But we're here. We're out." The words taste like betrayal. Russo stares at me. "What the hell are you doing, Sarge?" he whispers. Morales stares too, breathing hard. Bauer pushes his glasses up his nose with a shaking hand. "They all walked out," he says softly. "All 7. I saw it." "I know," I say. The forest's edge hums behind me, a low, pleased sound. Engineers help Kelleher and O'Keefe toward the aid station. Medics swarm us, checking wounds, asking questions. A clerk appears with a clipboard and a pencil, already writing. "Names," he says. "I need names for the report." I give him 4. The others blur on my tongue, like the forest still owns them. He writes the 4. Later, when battalion tallies its numbers, they will say that 12 went into the Hexenwald and 4 walked out. The others are missing in action, presumed dead, lost to the trees. They will be right in the way that counts on paper. That night, lying on a stretcher under a canvas roof, I hear the wind in the pines outside the aid station. It sounds like old women counting. I turn my face to the wall and pretend to sleep. Years pass. The war ends. The forest stays where it is. I move through different rooms, barracks, apartments, houses, offices, always somewhere nearby. Somebody plants trees. For shade, for privacy, for decoration. The sound follows. Needles against glass, branches scratching siding, a voice in the hiss. "Heart," it says. "Vioir, Viorhanos." Now I am old and wrapped in tubes. The home smells of detergent and old coffee. The nurses move like ghosts in different colored pajamas. They smile when they come in to take my blood pressure, straighten my blankets, ask about my appetite. "Any pain today, Mr. Hart?" Carla asks. "Just the usual," I say. She adjusts the blinds. Light stripes the floor. Outside, the firs along the fence sway. You should go out more, she says. We have a little garden. The other residents like to sit out there. There's a path that goes round the trees. I stare at her. No, I say. She laughs. You veterans, she says. You're all scared of a little fresh air. She leaves. The door clicks shut. The room is quiet. The TV remote lies shattered on the floor, where I dropped it earlier. The screen is dark, full of my reflection and the faint ghost of the pines. The disc is still in my pocket. I never left it in the mud. I only thought about it. My fingers find it now, smooth and warm from years against my chest. The carved tree on it has 12 branches. 4 of them are cut short, as if something bit them off. I hold it up. The air in the room thickens. The corners darken, like someone turned down a dimmer switch that doesn't exist. The shadows and the folds of the curtain stretch. A smell creeps in. Damp earth. Old sap. Sulfur so faint, you might mistake it for a match recently struck somewhere down the hall. I hear wheels squeak. Not Carla's cart. Another sound. Wooden, older. The door doesn't open. They don't need doors. They step out of the walls. 12 old women, wrapped in shawls, shoes muddy, hair pinned tight. Their faces are the same as the ones I saw at the edge of the forest, but older still, as if the years since 1944 have dried them further instead of taking them away. They stand around my chair in a loose circle. The air goes cold. One of them leans on the armrest with a hand like a root. Her skin smells of smoke and wet wool. You broke our count, she says. Her English is cracked and slow, built carefully out of German bones. I gave you 4, I say. My voice is small. You took more. She smiles. Her teeth are thin and too many. We always take more, she says, for out, many in. That is the way. Another old woman moves to my left. She stares at the oxygen tube with mild curiosity. In the forest, she says, you promised to come back, to bring the missing ones out. I couldn't, I say. The war moved. The lines changed. There were orders. There were other things. They all make a small, disapproving sound, tongues clicking against the roofs of their mouths. Rules, one says. Numbers, says another. Paper, a third adds. Their words rustle like dry leaves. The one beside my right hand taps the disc with a long nail. You brought 12 in, she says. We counted. We sang. We opened the way. 4 hearts we let go, to walk in the sun. You picked them. You spoke their names. When the man with the paper came, you tied them to the world. The others, they stayed with us, between the trees, between roots. She leans closer. Now the numbers strain, she whispers. You are old. Your heart is thin. 4 hearts we let go that day, but one is ours still. Her finger presses gently against my chest. Yours. My own heartbeat stutters under her nail. Rousseau, Morales, Bauer. The 3 faces rise in my mind, alive, older than they were in the forest. Men who built lives after Hürtgen families. Houses, bottles emptied at kitchen tables. Stories told, some of them almost true. I have not seen them in years. I do not know if they still breathe. That's not how it works, I say. My voice shakes in my throat. You can't take it back. We walked out. We did the run. We left the forest behind. The old women chuckle. You left your boots, one says. Your breath, says another. Your names, a third murmurs. They turn their heads in unison toward the window. Outside, the wind picks up. The fir branches sway. Needles scrape glass. On each trunk for just a moment, I see something carved. Crooked trees, branches, little hanging shapes. 4 trunks, 4 sets of branches. We are patient, the woman by my hand says. We follow your roots, through streets, through years, through buildings made of stone instead of bark. Your legs carry you, but your shadow is tied to us. It leans our way. She straightens. You told your story on the road, she says. You gave it to the man with the paper. You gave it to the ones who listen in the box. She nods at the dark TV screen. You made a path. Others can walk it. They can come into the forest in their thoughts. We like that. She smiles wider. Maybe 12 each time, she says. Always 12. Not with boots. With ears. With eyes. With the soft part in the head that dreams. The idea sits in the room like another presence. Not soldiers this time. Listeners. When they go, she says softly. When they sit in their chairs and close their eyes and hear the trees and the counting and the bones. We will be there. We will sing. Some of them will leave our forest. Some of them will not. Numbers like to grow. Her hand strokes the disc once, lightly. Say their names now, she says. The ones you kept. Say them for us, so we may find their roots. My throat closes. I try not to speak. The oxygen tube hisses. The room smells of pine and hospital. My mouth opens. Daniel Russo, I say. The name scratches my tongue. Miguel Morales, Ernst Bauer. The women nod. They do not write the names down. They do not need to. The forest is wide, one says. Pines grow in other places. They start to back away, one by one, fading into the corners. Their shawls brush the floor. Their shoes leave no marks. At the doorway, where no door stands open, the last one pauses. You will not be alone when you stop, she says. 4 hearts out. Many and when your heart stops, you will hear feet in the needles. Do not answer when we call your name. If you answer, you stay. If you stay, you count. She tilts her head. Sometimes, she adds, we leave one old man to talk, to tell the path, to bring 12 more. She smiles, almost kindly. You have done well. Then she is gone. The room is just a room again. The noise comes back in layers. Someone's TV down the hall. A cart rattling. A cough. A distant toilet flush. Outside, the wind dies. The branches go still. In my chest, my heart trips once, hard, like a man stepping on an unseen route. I sit there a long time. Eventually, Carla comes back with the evening meds. She bends to pick up the broken remote. What happened here? She asks. Dropped it, I say. She tosses it in the trash without ceremony. Shame, she says. Now you'll have to sit with your thoughts. She winks. I don't answer. She gives me the pills. Water, adjusts the blanket. You should sleep, she says. You look like you've been somewhere. She leaves. The light outside fades to a flat gray. A single street lamp clicks on, washing the trunks of the pines in a yellow cone. I can see them clearly now. On the bark of the nearest one, just at my eye level, a symbol has appeared while I wasn't looking. A crooked tree with 12 branches. Under it, in letters that look like gouged bark and dried blood, is a number. 4. I close my eyes. I hear boots and needles, and old women counting. If you're still here, if you're still listening, remember this. When the story ends, and the screen goes dark, the forest doesn't. The road is still there. The track is still waiting. You can walk away from this, or you can let the trees have you. In 1944, 12 of us entered the Hürtgen Forest, and only 4 walked out. William Hart, Daniel Russo, Miguel Morales, Ernst Bauer. Company K, 121st Infantry Regiment, 8th Infantry Division. The rest are still between the trees.